Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us today. My name is Caroline Bombard. I will be your moderator for today. I'd like to introduce you to our two panelists, Francesco Altamura and Johannes Smith. Before we start, I'd like to take you through a couple of housekeeping rules. You'll be muted upon entry. The webinar is recorded and you'll be receiving the slides and the recording afterwards. If you're posting on social media, please use our hashtag GeoJunction. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat box and we'll address them at the end of the webinar. Please also feel free to connect with Francesco and Johannes. And over to you, Francesco.
Thank you very much, Caroline, and good morning or good evening, everybody, depending on your time zone. And welcome to another episode of our series of webinars about GeoJunction solutions. My name is Francesco Altamura, and I'm the Chief Business Officer in GeoJunction. And together with Johannes Smith, Head of Research and Development, we'll guide you through one of our custom services, the outdoor venue plans. So our company was founded in the early 80s, initially as a system integrator, but soon evolved into one of the major map makers of those times, under A&D brand, Automotive Navigation Data. A long story indeed of over 3 decades. More recently, A&D has been rebranded into GeoJunction, going through a deep and complete transformation and evolution from a traditional map maker to a creator of map-agnostic, dynamic, high-value-added data and software solutions utilized to resolve everyday real-life problems in various market segments and distant industry sectors, promoting safety on the road and environmental sustainability. As a publicly traded company, we have a great team with a unique mix of experiences and a broad range of technical, commercial, and financial competencies in mapping, GIS, geolocation-aware content, and software development for car, marine, and aviation navigation systems, starting from our supervisor board through the management board and the core team. GeoJunction has a global footprint. Our headquarters is in the Netherlands, in Capelle aan IJssel, Rotterdam, but we have people all around the world, with 3 commercial and business development offices in Germany, Italy, and US, and a large production site in India, which is a fundamental part of our team since more than 20 years. In addition, we have key strategic partnerships in place which extend our range of action to artificial intelligence, computer vision, deep learning, 3D imaging, and image processing. Our product strategy is based on 3 major pillars, starting with location-aware content, which essentially is the most traditional part of our offering, with global digital maps, administrative and geo-boundaries, map tile services, addresses, geocoder, and zip code database, including zip+4 in the States. Then we have the premium location-aware content, well represented from the high alert zones, a suite of data products designed to make roads and people safer and reduce environmental impact. This data suite includes the eco-alert zones with aggregated information and polygons on areas created by local governments to reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality, and with restricted or fee-paying access. This includes congestion areas, low-emission zones for light and heavy vehicles, pedestrian zones, and ZTL areas, which are traffic-limited zones. The high alert zones also include the safety zones, smart polygons, time and weather dependent, around areas with higher probability of accidents in certain specific conditions, such as tunnels, bridges, accident-prone areas, schools and kindergartens or surroundings, or playground areas, and many more. And last, the health alert zones, aggregated informations on COVID-19 pandemic statistics with unique and very localized risk evaluation scores across several focus countries. However, health alert zones are now evolving to contain other health risk areas, such as air quality and noise pollution areas, just to mention two specific cases that soon will be released. And the last of our product strategy pillars is the location intelligence services. Here we are not talking about off-the-shelf solutions, but custom data search, data collection, aggregation and consolidation, geoanalytics and data normalization and deployment to enhance the maps of our B2B customers and create a better and richer user experience for their clients. So, an example of a location intelligence service is the outdoor venue plan concept, a last mile custom map that can be created for various market verticals and serving an unlimited number of use cases. So with the outdoor venue plan, we can say that the GeoJunction starts where other map makers end their services. The outdoor venue plan is indeed the subject of our webinar today. So what is the idea behind the outdoor venue plan? Well, I think we all experienced at least once in life a case like this. Let's suppose that I'm driving to a camping area with my family, making use of a map on my mobile or in-car navigation system. But when I reach the entrance of my destination site, those generalistic maps on which I usually rely suddenly stop and no any detail of that camping area is provided. Look at the example of camping the Goof Stack on Google Maps, and the same on OpenStreetMap. So what we actually look for in such a case as a user? Well, we would like to have an extra detailed map of the camping overlaid on generalistic maps. We'd like to get it immediately on our mobile device so that we can see our GPS position on the area. We'd also like this detailed map to be fully navigable and possibly with a search function so that we can easily identify services and destinations within the site and point towards their direction. Of course, we need all of that in an easy, straightforward manner without complications and without losing time. How to get all of that? Well, through GeoJunction outdoor venue plans of that specific camping site. So now I hand over to Johannes for a brief technical explanation of the outdoor venue plan solution. Up to you, Johannes. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesco. Well, as Francesco said, one of our core business is creating data, and creating data does mean that we create maps. So what we do for outdoor venue plan is that, of course, we have a large library of all kinds of maps. The specific one, in this case, the camping site, but it could also be, well, your site. What we do is we get all the information you have. It might be a sketch, it might be a PDF that you have on a flyer, and we, using all other existing sources like satellite images, OpenStreetMap, we draw again a new map, but this time geo-reference, so that it really fits into the existing situation, and that the position you get from your devices is actually matching the position on the map. Okay, we have done that, but we are not creating a drawing. We are creating map components, which we store in the database. So we don't send out pictures, but we get the database information and we create factor tiles. Factor tiles are a little bit different. It's because we don't know where you are looking at these maps, what devices you are using. So we are trying to be as lightweight as possible. So what we could have done, we could have created a raster file, compare it to a photo, and slice it up in exactly the area which you are looking at. But we went a little bit ahead, and we also said, well, we don't know how much the bandwidth is, so let's do it as lean as possible and let the device create out of the information we get from the database into an image, which you can be viewing on your mobile device, preferably, because then you have the location, then you can do some walking around and see where everything is leading. And as I said, what we aimed for is being as independent on device as we can. So digitize a map means creating what you have, but then putting it on the right place in the world. Georeferencing is it's also called. So in that, because it is georeferenced, you can exactly see on the map where you are, and therefore you can see that, let's say, the public toilets are just one road ahead. What we also get is the possibility to layer extra information like COVID measures, like a map with all the bus stops, the public transport, or whatever you want. Imagine you have a building site which people with trucks have to deliver their stuff, and yeah, there is no real infrastructure. And this could also help you to find your way in an area that is not mapped yet. As I said, we use for our maps your input, your maps, your drawings, what you have, and everything what you need to get your people on your site, get the right place. So it's completely focused on your needs and your information. Francesco, would you please take it?
Thank you very much, Johannes. And now let's take a look to a few use cases. Sport parks are typical cases which can benefit from our outdoor venue plan. Look at this example close to our GeoJunction office. This large sport park that you see identified with this green area has 4 different clubs with 11 fields offering spaces for both soccer and hockey. Reaching a specific location within the sport park area might not be easy, in particular now with COVID restrictions and dedicated routes to enter and exit public areas. Not to mention that you may be in delay at the very last second with your child, and this makes things even more complex. So again, the solution is a custom OVP map, which is fully navigable, searchable, and with the indication of all the facilities and services within the sport park area. The bespoke map can be customized with the logos of the clubs and made available on mobile devices through a QR code or a simple web link. I show you now a brief animation on how the search function works. So, as you can see, the user selects the destination field in the pop-up menu, and then he can move towards the requested direction identified with the dashed line until he arrives at the final destination of the field. You can see the GPS position moving on the map until it reaches the selected field. Good. So another typical use case are represented from the large areas like stadiums, building sites, events, outdoor festivals, concert areas, big industrial sites. The usage in this case is also very clear. When you have to manage the crowd, identify walking routes or the correct entrance and the exact position of your location within a venue, outdoor venue plans are the ultimate solutions. And then here we have the use case of an Italian municipality that asked for the identification and display on a custom map of all the waste collection areas on their territory, including the big collection site, which also has a timetable for accessing the services. In addition, they are required to display the ZTL, the traffic limited zone, and the specific regulations to help tourists to not incur in penalties and fees. If this is a public case available online on the website of the municipality, the next one is actually an example of the same OVP, but developed only for internal use of the municipality within their control room. A waste collection area is usually an area with 5 large bins, like the one represented in the picture, with LoRa sensors inside. And such sensors are actually detecting the level of the collected waste and transmit information to the control room, visualizing the result in real time on the dashboard. When a specialized operator drives through his route to collect waste, he can also record video or pictures of the streets and of the specific waste collection areas. Such images are processed to identify abandoned waste thanks to artificial intelligence methods. Another interesting use case is represented from the mobility plans. Companies with a certain amount of employees are due to define mobility plans as part of their company strategy to encourage and facilitate the usage of alternative mobility for employees and clients to reach their offices. Here, an example in Brussels where we identified bus stations, metro stations, and railway stations closest to the office of one of our clients, each with their lanes and timetables displaying the quickest and safest route to destination. And last but not least, an example of outdoor venue plan for the real estate market. In this case, you can see the GeoJunction office with information about the bus lane and the timetable to reach the final destination. But even more interesting is what it happens when clicking on the GeoJunction icon. A window appears where the client can take a look inside the office. Just a few seconds, I move the page. Good. In this case, you can take, first of all, a virtual tour embedded in the map. And virtual tour starts with a 360 degrees bird eye view of the surrounding area. And when the GeoJunction office will soon appear in transparency at the 9th floor of the building, your client can visit inside the entire property through an immersive experience. I think in this case, the benefit for the real estate market is quite evident. And once again, integration is the key word. Now the bird eye view is completing. We have the building where GeoJunction office is located. You see the transparency and the office in transparency at the 9th floor. I press on that transparency and I dig into the immersive reality virtual tour inside the office. And of course, we can take a look into our GeoJunction office, as I said. And now I hand over again to Johannes for the summary and closure. To you, Johannes.
Thank you. Well, as Francesco said, there is no limit to the use cases you can imagine. And it is all about finding your way on uncharted areas. So basically, what we are saying, it is a service we provide, a turnkey solution. You only have to tell us what you have, deliver your map to us. As I said, it can be anything you have, PDF, paper, and we create a detailed map out of it, and we put it online. And the nice thing is that with current technologies, it is very simple to point your customers to that location. What you can do is generate a QR code. We will generate a QR code for you, and you can put it everywhere where you want. You can put it on the reception desk, but you can also put it on the parking place, on signs. Well, are you looking for the correct field in the sports park? Or you put it in the headers of your email. This way, your customers never get lost at your site. And as I said, it is a turnkey solution. We set it up. You don't have to do anything, just pointing your customers to the correct site. As I said, it is a simple website. Just like, well, you, for instance, you maybe used to Google Maps or whatever, but then with your own data, with your own site. It is just a web link, and a QR code can help you to scan it with your phone and easily come to it. As I said before, the idea behind is it make it as lightweight and as simple as possible. We have not chosen for an app. It is accessible for every smartphone or tablet or PC with an internet connection. And for the location services, of course, you need to have a GPS inside. But other than that, it's all standard. Use Google Chrome, use Safari or any other web browser, and you're fine. Data requirements, as I said, due to the choices we have made, not using raster files, but produce the maps right out of the database, we have a very low bandwidth product. So that means that our servers only have a very low bandwidth needed as well. So however, how many customers you have, it won't be limited by your bandwidth. So easier than it, I'll make it.
Very good, very good. And by the way, Johannes mentioned QR code a few times. All the QR codes that you saw in this presentation are actually real codes that you can scan and dig into the real OVP maps that we prepared for the specific use cases. So feel free to do that.
Okay, now over to question and answers. Thank you, Francesco. Thank you, Johannes, for a very comprehensive overview of our OVP service. I can see a couple of questions in the chat box. The first one, maybe for you, Francesco. Is the 3D visualization part of the OVP service as standard?
Yeah, OVP has various possible add-ons. As we said, it's a custom solution, and we can build different modules together to get a complete solution integrated with many different modules. The 3D view is one of these possible add-ons. So it's not necessary that this is in the default presentation. It is possible that depending on the use case and depending on the needs that we have to address for the B2B customer, we can decide with the customer to add it or not.
Okay, thank you. The next question may be more for Johannes. Can I add information to the map myself?
Yes, actually you can. What we are doing when creating the map, we use all, the map consists of all objects. Every object can have a web link. So in this case, if you have defined, let's say, a square which depicts a restaurant, you can link that square to the menu page of your restaurant. So every day, if you have a different menu, when the user clicks on that location, it will get you a different page with a different menu of the day. And you can use that in any way possible. So yes, there are ways to enhance the data, but the map is provided by us, so that can only be changed by us.
Okay, thank you. Next question maybe for you, Francesco. What is the pricing for this service?
Yeah, that's of course, the price is always an important piece. As you can imagine, due to the fact that outdoor venue plans are custom solutions defined together with the customer, it's not so easy to provide a standard pricing for every type of use case. It's not even so simple to define a quotation just based on the size of the venue, because you can imagine that on the same venue, you may decide as a customer to position 1,000 point of interest and maybe hundreds of areas, or just a few points and a few areas. So the mass of work that is expected is really depending on the specific use case and the specific requirement of the customer. So there isn't a price list where we can rely and show directly to the customer, but it's something that we can build together. What I can instead ensure is that GeoJunction is always extremely price sensitive, and therefore will find always a good solution for the customer at the best possible price.
Thank you, Francesco. The next question will be maybe for Johannes. Are the QR codes pointing to a specific use case?
No, actually not. The QR code, as I tried to explain before, is your map that we publish is on a certain web location. So with each browser, if you put in the line https www GeoJunction maps and stuff like that, but that's of course a very complex line to communicate with your customers. So what you can do as a shortcut, you can generate a QR code consisting of that URL, which can be scanned by, well, nearly every phone over the last 10 years, and immediately be transported to the exact location in your web browser and view the map. That's the only thing. It's not magic. It's just helpful as a shortcut to get quickly and get your customers quickly to the right location.
Okay, thank you, Johannes. I can't see any further questions. So with this, we'll wrap up this session. Thank you again, Francesco and Johannes. Thank you to the attendees, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next webinar.
Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.